how the state government works. Last year we discussed the fact that government works at three levels: local, state, and national level, and looked at the work of local government in some detail. In this chapter, we will examine the work of the government at the state level. How does this take place in a democracy? What is the role of the member of the Legislative Assembly, MLA, and ministers? How do people express their views or demand action from government? Now, who is an MLA? In the above section, you have read about some events in Patalpuram. Patalpuram is a place about whom we will study. Okay, you may be familiar with some official names such as collector, medical officer, etc. But have you heard of an MLA and the Legislative Assembly? Do you know the MLA of your area? Can you identify which party he or she belongs to? Now, MLA's full form. Members of the Legislative Assembly are elected by people. They then become members of the Legislative Assembly and also form the government. In this way, we say that the MLAs represent people. The example below will help us understand this better. Now, every state in India has a Legislative Assembly. Each state is divided into different areas or constituencies. For example, look at the map below. Here, this map. Okay, it has different constituencies and the number is also written that which state has how many constituencies. Let's come back to a paragraph here. Every state in India has a Legislative Assembly. Each state is divided into different areas or constituencies. For example, look at the map below. We have already seen the map. It shows that the state of Himachal Pradesh is divided into 68 assembly constituencies. For each constituency, the people elect one representative who then becomes a member of the Legislative Assembly, who is known as an MLA. You would have noticed that people stand for elections in the name of different parties. These MLAs therefore belong to different political parties. How do people who are MLAs become ministers or a chief minister? A political party whose MLAs have won more than half the number of constituencies in a state can be said to be in majority. The political party that has the majority is called the ruling party, and all other members are called the opposition. For example, the Legislative Assembly of the state of Himachal Pradesh has 68 MLA constituencies. Now, for a party to have a majority, it should have more than 50% of the seats. Okay. Now, this will be clear here on the next page from this table. Results of the assembly elections in Himachal Pradesh in 2017. Okay. So the political party Bharatiya Janata Party BJP, it has number of 44 MLAs elected. Then INC Indian National Congress 21 MLAs elected. Communist Party of India 1, Marxist. Independents who don't belong to any party 2. Okay. So as we have already studied that Himachal Pradesh has 68 constituencies. So according to 68 constituencies, in order to have a majority, a party should have 34 members elected. But now here we can see in BJP party, they have 44 members. So more than 50%, that means BJP will become the ruling party. It has the majority. Let's come to this paragraph now. Candidates from various political parties won the 2017 assembly elections and became MLAs. Since the total number of MLAs in the Legislative Assembly is 68, so a political party would have needed to have more than 34 MLAs in order to gain a majority. The Bharatiya Janata Party BJP with 44 MLAs had the majority and it became the ruling party. All other MLAs became the opposition. All other MLAs means Indian National Congress and Communist Party of India and then independents. In this case, the Indian National Congress INC was the major opposition party, since it had the largest number of MLAs after the BJP. Among the opposition were other parties, including those who have been elected as independent candidates. Now read this also here. The head of the state is the governor. He or she is appointed by the central government to ensure that the state government works within the rules and regulations of the constitution. Okay. Now let's come back to this paragraph. After the elections, the MLAs belonging to ruling party will elect the leader who will become the chief minister. In this case, the BJP MLAs chose Sri Jairam Thakur as the leader and he became the chief minister. The chief minister then selects other people as ministers. After the elections, it is the governor of the state who appoints the chief minister and other ministers. The chief minister and other ministers have the responsibility of running various government departments or ministries. They have separate offices. A legislative assembly is a place where all the MLAs, whether from the ruling party or from the opposition, meet to discuss various things. Hence, some MLAs have dual responsibilities, one as an MLA and the other as a minister. We will read about this further. Now, here we will be reading a debate in the Legislative Assembly by some of the MLAs. Okay. So, Afreen, Sujata, and many other students from the school traveled to the state capital to visit the Legislative Assembly, which was housed in an impressive building. The children were excited. After security checks, they were taken upstairs. There was a gallery from where they could see the large hall below. There were rows and rows of desks. This assembly was going to have a debate on a current problem. During this time, MLAs can express their opinions and ask questions related to the issue or give suggestions about what should be done by the government. Those who wish to can respond to this. The minister then replies to the questions and tries to assure the assembly that adequate steps are being taken. The chief minister and other ministers have to take decisions and run the government. We usually hear about them or see them in the news channels or in the papers. However, whatever decisions are being taken have to be approved by the members of the Legislative Assembly. In a democracy, these members can ask questions, debate an important issue, decide where money should be spent, etc. They have the main authority. Now, MLA 1. In my constituency of Akhanda Gaon, during the last 3 weeks, there were 15 deaths because of diarrhea. I think it is a shame that this government has not been able to check the situation of a simple problem like diarrhea while proclaiming itself to be a champion of technology. I would call the attention of the minister in charge of health to take immediate measures to control the situation. MLA 2. My question is, why are government hospitals in such a bad situation? Why is the government not appointing proper doctors and other medical staff in the district? I would also like to know how the government plans to deal with this situation, which is affecting a large number of people and is also spreading. This is an epidemic. MLA 3. My constituency of Tolpatti too has serious shortage of water. Women have to travel up to 3 or 4 kilometers to collect water. How many tankers have been put into service to supply water? How many wells and ponds have been cleaned and disinfected? Then MLA 4. I think my colleagues are exaggerating the problem. The government has taken steps to control the situation. Water tankers have been put into service. ORS packets are being distributed. The government is doing everything possible to help people. MLA 5. We have very poor facilities in our hospitals. There are hospitals that do not have a doctor and no medical staff have been appointed for the last few years. In another hospital, the doctor had gone on a long leave. This is a shame. I think the situation is going from bad to worse. How are we going to ensure that ORS packets reach all the families in the affected areas? MLA 6. The opposition members are unnecessarily blaming the government. The previous government did not pay any attention to sanitation. We have now taken up a drive to clear the garbage that has been lying around for years. In the earlier section, you have read about a debate in the Legislative Assembly. The members were debating the action taken or not taken by the government. This is because the MLAs are together responsible for the work of the government. In common usage, the word government refers to government departments and various ministers who head them. The overall head is a chief minister. More correctly, this is called the executive part of the government. All the MLAs who gather together or assemble in the Legislative Assembly are called the legislature. They are the ones who authorize and supervise their work. As we saw in the earlier section, it is from among them that the head of the executive or the chief minister is formed. Now the next topic, working of the government. The Legislative Assembly is not the only place where opinions are expressed about the work of the government and action is demanded. You will find newspapers, TV channels and other organizations regularly talking about the government. In a democracy, there are various ways through which people express their views and also take action. Let us look at one such way. Soon after the discussion in the assembly, there was a press conference organized by the health minister. Large number of people from different newspapers were present. The minister and some government officials were also present. The minister explained the steps the government had taken. Reporters asked many questions at this meeting. These discussions were then reported in different newspapers. The following page has one such report. During the next week, the Chief Minister and the Minister for Health visited Patalpuram district. They went to visit the families who had lost their relatives and also visited people in the hospitals. The government announced a compensation for these families. The Chief Minister also said that he thought the problem was not only one of sanitation but also a lack of clean drinking water. He said that a high level inquiry committee will be asked to look into the needs of the district to provide sanitation facilities and would request the Minister for Public Works to take care of the needs of proper water supply in the region. Now, before proceeding, let's read this yellow box. Government smells the garbage. This box. Chief Minister promises funds for work. During the last few weeks, there had been many deaths in some districts of our state. There has been a strong reaction that the government has not taken this seriously. The health minister explained today at press conference that his government has asked all the collectors and the chief medical officers to take urgent measures. The most important problem is that of drinking water. The minister said that they intend to supply drinking water to every village through tanker trucks. The chief minister has promised funds for this work. They also plan to start a campaign to inform people about the steps that can be taken to prevent diarrhea. When a reporter asked him as to what steps are being taken to see that garbage has been lying around for months is quickly collected, the chief minister said that he would look into this. Now come back to this paragraph. As we saw above, the people in power like the chief minister and the minister have to take action. They do so through various departments like the Public Works Department, the Agriculture Department, the Health Department, the Education Department, and so on. They also have to answer questions that are asked in the Legislative Assembly and convince people asking the questions that proper steps are being taken. At the same time, newspapers and the media widely discuss the issue and the government has to respond, for example, by holding the press conference. The government can also decide to make new laws for the state regarding sanitation and health facilities. For example, it may make it compulsory for municipal corporations to ensure that there are adequate toilets in every urban area. It may also ensure that a health worker is appointed in every village. This act of making laws on certain issues is done in the Legislative Assembly of each state. The various government departments then implement these laws. Laws for the entire country are made in the parliament. You will read more about the parliament next year. In a democracy, it is the people who elect their representatives as members of the Legislative Assembly (MLAs), and thus it is the people who have the main authority. The ruling party members then form the government, and some members are appointed ministers. These ministers are in charge of various departments of the government, such as held in the above example. Whatever work is done by these departments has to be approved by the members of the Legislative Assembly. See this picture. In a democracy, people organize meetings to voice their opinions and protest against the government. See, the people are protesting here against the government. A wallpaper project. A wallpaper is an interesting activity through which research can be done on particular topics of interest. The following photographs explain the different aspects involved in creating a wallpaper in a classroom. These are the pictures. Let's read. After introducing the topic and having a brief discussion with the whole class, the teacher divides the class into groups. The group discusses the issue and decide what it would like to include in the wallpaper. Children then work individually or in pairs to read the collected material and write their observations or experiences. They can do this through creating stories, poems, case studies, interviews, etc. The group looks at the material that they have selected, drawn, or written. They read each other's writing and provide feedback to each other. They make decision on what should be included and finalize the layout for the wallpaper. Then each group then represents the wallpaper to the entire class. It is important that more than one member of the group is asked to present and that each group is allotted the same amount of time to discuss their work. After each group has presented, it would be a good idea to have a feedback session on the following. What more could they do on their own? How could their work be organized better? How could writing and presentation be improved upon? So see, this is a wallpaper about a 2006 dengue epidemic which was prepared by children of class 6th B of Kendriya Vidyalaya 2 Hindon, Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. So this is a kind of wallpaper project, okay? So here we come to the end of this chapter, and before ending, let's read this glossary. These definitions are very important. Glossary. Constituency, a particular area from which all the voters living there choose their representatives. This could be, for example, a panchayat ward or an area that chooses an MLA. Then majority. This is a situation when more than half the number in a group supports a decision or an idea. This is also called a simple majority. Then opposition. This refers to elected representatives who are not members of the ruling party and who play the role of questioning government decisions and actions as well as raise new issues for consideration in the assembly. Then press conference. A gathering of journalists from the media who are invited to hear about and ask questions on a particular issue and are then expected to report on this to a larger public. So now the chapter is complete. Thank you.